Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! A few years ago, I was put on some medication. The doctor told me I needed to stay hydrated, so I was drinking water like it was going out of style. As you can imagine, this led to a lot of trips to the restroom. At first, I didn't think much of it. When nature called, I answered. Simple as that. But apparently my frequent bathroom breaks didn't sit well with my department manager. This guy, let me tell you, he was a real piece of work. Always needed to know everything that was going on like he was some kind of control freak. One day, after a few weeks of my increased bathroom visits, he called me into his office. I walked in, not suspecting a thing. Sit down. We need to talk about your frequent absences from the floor. Absences? I've been here every day. I'm talking about your constant trips to the restroom. You're not informing anyone when you leave. I didn't realize I needed to report my bathroom breaks. Well, you do. I'm writing you off for this. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Written up for using the bathroom? Was this guy for real? But as I sat there staring at him in disbelief, an idea started to form in my mind. If he wanted to know about my bathroom breaks so badly, I'd make sure he knew. Oh boy, would he know. Over the next few days, I made it my mission to keep my manager fully informed about my bathroom activities. And not just him, but anyone who was in earshot of a walkie-talkie, which in our store was pretty much everyone. The first time I needed to go, I grabbed my walkie-talkie and took a deep breath. Here goes nothing, I thought. Hey manager, you needed to be aware of my bathroom schedule. I'm about to use a restroom. I appreciate your inquiry. I appreciate your inquiry about it. There was a moment of silence, then I heard a few snickers over the radio. My manager didn't respond, but I knew he'd heard me. Emboldened, I continued this new routine every time nature called. A few hours later, hey boss, I need to go pee right now. Should my urination cause pain? This time I heard a groan over the radio, followed by more laughter from my co-workers. But I wasn't done yet. Oh no, I was just getting started. The next day, manager, I have to finish tasks number 1 and 2, wishing for a smooth outcome. I waited a few minutes, then keyed up the radio again. The sound of flush? Looks good. I am back on the floor. By this point, my co-workers were having a hard time containing their laughter. I could hear them giggling every time I walked by. Even some of the customers were giving me strange looks, probably wondering why this weirdo was announcing his bathroom habits to the whole store. But the crowning moment came later that afternoon. I was in the middle of doing my business when I heard my manager calling for me over the radio. Without missing a beat, I grabbed my walkie-talkie. Hey manager, you're looking for me? In the bathroom I am. I'll see you in a moment. I have to use both hands right now. That was apparently the last straw. Not 10 minutes after I returned to the sales floor, I was summoned to the human resources office. The store manager was there too, along with my department manager. They all looked pretty uncomfortable. Human resources? We need to discuss your recent announcements over the radio. I asked, is there a problem? I thought I was supposed to report my bathroom breaks. The store manager tells me, while we appreciate your dedication to following instructions, this level of detail is unnecessary. I put on my best innocent face. Eyes wide as saucers. I don't want to get in trouble. My manager informed me that he was in dire need of knowing about my bathroom breaks. I was just following instructions. My department manager's face was a lovely shade of red by this point. He couldn't even look me in the eye. The HR tells me, we understand. However, moving forward, please do not report your restroom breaks to anyone, ever. Store manager? Yes, we'll take care of the situation. You're not in any trouble. I nodded, fighting to keep a straight face. I say, if you're sure. I just wanted to make sure I was doing what I was told. As I left the office, I could hear my co-workers whispering and giggling. Word had spread fast about my bathroom broadcasting, and for weeks afterward I'd catch people stifling laughs whenever I walked towards the restroom. The whole situation was ridiculous, but I have to admit, I kind of enjoyed it. It's not often you get to make a point in such a spectacularly awkward way. And let me tell you, my manager never questioned my bathroom habits again. My name is not important, but what's important is that I'm 7 months pregnant. It wasn't planned, but my boyfriend and I were thrilled when we found out. We've been together for 3 years, and while we weren't trying for a baby, we weren't exactly being careful either. When those two pink clients showed up on a test, we were scared but excited. Everything was going great until my 4th month. My boyfriend got into a terrible car accident. He survived, thank God, but he's been in the hospital ever since. The medical bills started piling up, and even with insurance, we were drowning in debt. And that's when I decided to pick up a job as a waitress at a local restaurant. It wasn't ideal being on my feet all day while pregnant, but we needed the money. The restaurant owner was kind enough to give me the job, knowing my situation. My co workers were supportive too, always offering to help me when I needed a break. It wasn't easy, but I was managing, that is, until she walked in. It was a busy Friday night, and I was already feeling the strain of the long shift. My feet were swollen, my back ached, and the baby was kicking up a storm. But I plastered on a smile and kept going. That's when I saw her, a middle aged woman with a severe bob haircut and a scalp that could curdle milk. Little did I know she was about to make my night a living hell. I approached her table, no bed in hand. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome to our restaurant. Can I start you off with any drinks? I'll have a glass of your finest white wine. And make it snappy. I'm parched. I nodded and hurried off to get her drink. When I returned, she was ready to order. I'll have the grilled salmon with asparagus, and it better be perfect. This is my favorite dish, and I won't tolerate any mistakes. Of course, ma'am. I'll put that order in right away. I headed to the kitchen to relay the order to the chef. As I waited for her food, I attended to my other tables. The night was going smoothly until I brought Karen her meal. What is this? This isn't what I ordered. I'm sorry, ma'am, but this is a grilled salmon with asparagus that you requested. Are you blind? This salmon is overcooked, and the asparagus is limp. I can't eat this garbage. I was taken aback by her outburst. The salmon looked perfectly cooked to me, and the asparagus was steamed just right. I am very sorry you're not satisfied with your meal. Would you like me to have the chef prepare a new dish for you? Are you kidding me? I don't want another botched attempt. I want to speak to your manager right now. I nodded and went to fetch my manager. While I was gone, Karen's temper seemed to escalate. By the time I returned with the manager, she was in a full-blown rage. Manager tells her, Ma'am, I understand you're not happy with your meal. How can we make this right for you? You can start by firing this incompetent waitress. She clearly doesn't know how to do her job. I say, Ma'am, I'm just a server. I didn't prepare the food. Don't talk back to me, you fat cow. Just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get to be lazy. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I was used to dealing with difficult customers, but this was a whole new level of nastiness. The manager says, Ma'am, please lower your voice. There is no need for personal attacks. We'd be happy to prepare a new dish for you or offer you a refund. I don't want a new dish from this incompetent kitchen. I want justice. Before anyone could react, Karen grabbed her plate and hurled it at me. I managed to dodge most of it, but some of the food splattered on my uniform. I stood there, shocked and trembling. Look at you. You're useless. Can't even dodge properly with that big belly of yours. And that's when my coworker, a petite but fiery woman, had enough. She stormed over to Karen's table. That's it. You don't get to talk to my friend like that. Mind your own business, shorty. This is between me and the whale. Oh, that's it. Without warning, my coworker grabbed Karen by the arm and started dragging her towards the exit. Karen was kicking and screaming the whole way, but my coworker was surprisingly strong for her size. Let go of me, you psycho! I'll sue this whole restaurant. Coworker managed to get Karen outside and deposited her unceremoniously on the sidewalk. Karen landed flat on her back, her designer purse spilling its contents all over the pavement. How dare you! I'll have you arrested for assault. By this point, other diners had gathered to watch the spectacle. Some were filming with their phones, while others were cheering coworker on. Coworker says, "The only one getting arrested here is you. We've already called the cops." Sure enough, within minutes, police sirens could be heard approaching. Two officers arrived on the scene and began questioning everyone involved. Can someone explain what happened here? I stepped forward, still shaking from the encounter. This woman verbally abused me, threw a plate of food at me, and made discriminatory comments about my pregnancy. Several customers chimed in, corroborating my story. The officers listened intently, taking notes. "Ma'am, is this true?" "They are all lying. I'm the victim here. This restaurant served me inedible food and then assaulted me." "We have multiple witnesses saying otherwise, ma'am. I'm going to have to ask you to come with us." "You can't arrest me. Do you know who I am? I'll have your badges for this." Despite her protests, the officers handcuffed Karen and led her to their patrol car. As they were putting her in the back seat, one of the officers turned to me. "Ma'am, would you like to press charges?" I hesitated for a moment, but then nodded firmly. Yes, I would. I had to give a statement at the police station and later testify in court. It turned out that Karen was facing multiple charges: assault, disorderly conduct, and even a hate crime for her discriminatory comments about my pregnancy. The trial was a nerve-wracking experience. I had to relive that horrible night in front of a courtroom full of strangers, but seeing Karen's smug face crumble as witness after witness testified against her made it all worth it. In the end, Karen was found guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to community service, ordered to pay a hefty fine, and had to attend anger management classes. The judge also granted a restraining order preventing her from coming near me or the restaurant. As for me, I continued working at the restaurant until I was ready to go on maternity leave. My co-workers threw me a beautiful baby shower, and my protective co-worker, my fierce defender, became one of my closest friends. My boyfriend's condition improved and he was released from the hospital just in time for our baby's birth. We named our daughter Hope because despite all the challenges we faced, she gave us hope for a brighter future. Oh, and by the way, Karen lost her job due to her criminal record and became something of a local pariah after videos of her tirade went viral. That night at the restaurant was one of the worst experiences of my life. But now, as I rock my baby girl to sleep, I know that I could handle whatever life throws my way, entitled Karens included. Hi everyone, here I am sharing my personal drama on the internet. I guess everyone needs a place to vent sometimes, right? Let me tell you about the mess I'm in with my family, especially my younger brother. I'm 25 years old, married to a wonderful man who's 28. We've been saving up for our dream home for years now. It hasn't been easy, but we're finally getting close to having enough for down payment. We've been cutting corners, skipping vacations, and living on a tight budget to make it happen. It's all we talk about these days. Picking out neighborhoods, browsing listings online, imagining our future together in our very own place. My brother is 22 and he's always been the entrepreneur of the family. Ever since he was a teenager, he's been coming up with business ideas and schemes to make quick money. Some worked out, others not so much. But our parents always encouraged him, calling him a go-getter and praising his ambition. 2 years ago, he came to me with his latest plan: flipping houses. He needed some cash to get started, so I lent him $5,000. To his credit, he did pay that back eventually, but since then, it's like he sees me as his personal bank. Over the past couple of years, I've given him around $15,000 more in various loans. Some were for his business ventures, others for personal expenses. I was lenient about repayment because his partner had a health scare and was hospitalized for a while. I told him to focus on medical bills first and we'd figure out the rest later. But now it's been months since those medical issues were resolved, and he hasn't mentioned a word about paying me back. It's like he thinks those loans just disappeared into thin air. Last week he called me up after the flu. "Hey sis, how's it going?" "Oh hey, I'm good. Just busy with work. What's up?" "So I've got this amazing opportunity. There is this property I want to buy and flip. It's gonna be huge." "Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you. Thanks. Thing is, I'm a little short on cash for the initial costs. I was wondering if you could lend me $10,000. I promise I'll pay you back as soon as the house sells. I felt my stomach drop. We were so close to our goal, and now he wanted to sit us back again? I took a deep breath before responding. I'm sorry, but we can't afford to lend you that much right now. We're saving for our own house, remember? What? Come on. It's just $10,000. You know I'm good for it. No, I don't know that. You still haven't paid back the other loans I've given you. That's not fair. You said you'd be lenient about those because of the medical bills. Yes, but that was months ago. You haven't even mentioned paying me back since then. I can't believe you're being so selfish. This could be my big break, and you're holding me back. Family's supposed to support each other. We have supported you multiple times, but we have our own goals too. We can't keep putting them on hold for you. Whatever. You've changed. You used to care about family. He hung up on me and I was left feeling like I've been punched in the gut. Was I really being selfish? I didn't think so. But doubt started creeping in. The next day my phone started blowing up with messages and calls from my parents. They were furious that I'd refused to help my brother. Mom tells me, "How could you do this to your own brother? He needs your help." Mom, we've helped him so many times already. We can't afford it right now. That's no excuse. Family comes first, always. You're being incredibly selfish. But what about our goals? Don't they matter too? You're married now. Your husband can't take care of you. Your brother needs you more. I was shocked. It was like they completely forgot about all the times we'd helped them before. They kept guilt tripping me, saying that I was abandoning the family and that I'd regret it if my brother's big opportunity fell through because of me. When I told my husband about all this, he was livid. Enough is enough. We've been more than generous, and it's time to set some firm boundaries, he said. I know, but they are making me feel so guilty. Maybe we could find a way to help? No. We've put our lives on hold for your brother too many times. We deserve to focus on our future too. He was right, of course, but it's hard when your whole family is against you. The calls and messages kept coming, each one making me feel worse than the last. Brother says, "You're ruining my life. I'll never forgive you for this." Mom adds, "I raised you better than this. I am so disappointed in you." And Dad seals it with, "If you don't help your brother, don't bother coming to family gatherings anymore." It was overwhelming. I started to wonder if I was making a huge mistake. Maybe I should just give in and help him one more time. But then I remembered all the times we'd helped before, all the promises to pay us back that were never kept, all the sacrifices we'd made while he kept living beyond his means. And that's when I decided enough was enough. I sat down and wrote a long email to my entire family, laying out everything. I listed every loan we'd given, every time we'd helped, and how much was still unpaid. I explained our own goals and dreams and how their costs and demands were affecting us. I made it clear that while we love our family, we're not an endless source of cash. The response was not what I expected, though. My brother exploded, accusing me of keeping creepy records and trying to humiliate him. My parents doubled down, saying I was exaggerating and that I should be ashamed for airing family business. But then something unexpected happened. My aunt, who had been silently watching this all unfold in the family group chat, spoke up. "I think it's time we all took a step back and looked at this situation objectively. Opie and her husband have been incredibly generous. They have their own lives and goals, and it's not fair to expect them to put everything on hold indefinitely. Opie's brother, you're an adult now, and it's time to stand on your own 2 feet." Suddenly, the tide began to turn. Other family members started chiming in, many of them admitting they'd lent my brother money too and never been paid back. It turned out he'd been doing this to everyone, always with big promises and sob stories. My brother's response? He threw a massive tantrum in the group chat, calling us traitors and saying we were just jealous of his wild spirit. He announced he was cutting ties with the whole family, stormed out of the chat. My parents were mortified. They'd always seen my brother through rose-colored glasses, and now they were forced to confront the reality of his behavior. They called me later that day full of apologies and promises to make things right. It wasn't an instant fix, of course. There were too many long conversations and some therapy sessions before we really started to heal as a family. And my brother eventually came crawling back when he realized no one else would fund his schemes, but this time we all stood firm. As for me and my husband, we stuck to our guns and kept saving. 6 months later, we signed the papers on our very first home. It's not as big or fancy as we once dreamed, but it's ours. We did it ourselves. Standing in our new living room, keys in hand, I knew we'd made the right choice. My brother? Last I heard, he's working a regular job and learning to live within his means. It's been a hard lesson for him, and maybe it's exactly what he needed all along.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.